Live, I'm reading The Last Barrier, A Sufi Journey by Reshad Feild. He's in Turkey. This was published in 1976, and I am now at chapter 4. It starts with a quote by Rumi. I died from minerality and became vegetable, and from vegetativeness I died and became animal. I died from animality and became man. Then why fear disappearance through death? Next time I shall die, bringing forth wings and feathers like angels. After that, soaring higher than angels. What you cannot imagine, I shall be that. And then another quote by Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. All is contained in the divine breath, like the day in the morning dawn. Dawn broke over the hills, waking the dogs in the village, opening the day. I heard the call to prayer from the minarets. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great, God is great. The call of the muezzin echoed over the rooftops 5 times each day, summoning the people to turn once again to God. I performed the ablution as Hamid had taught me in London. He had said, if you do not have water, then wash with sand, and if you do not have sand, then wash with a stone. If a stone is not available, then cleanse yourself with intention, so that you approach the moment as free of the past as possible. I washed very carefully that morning, praying that I would be open to receive whatever might be given. Promptly at 7, I knocked at Hamid's door. He was waiting for me in the room. He gestured for me to sit on a chair facing him, and without preliminaries he began to speak. This morning I'm going to teach you a little about breathing. I'm sure you realize that breath is the secret of life, for without breath there is nothing. With correct breathing, it is possible to choose the day, the way you wish to travel. Think of the wind. It blows and carries with it whatever is light enough to be lifted from the earth. It carries the scent of flowers. It carries the leaves as they fall from the trees, and it carries the seeds from the plants to the place where they may take root. There is a great message here. We come into this world on the breath, and we go out of this world on the breath. The average man living his life in a mechanical way forgets all about breathing until the moment of his death, when he struggles to draw air into his lungs, clutching to the last remnants of what he has known as life in this world. The practice I will give you this morning can be done every day, every moment for the rest of your life. It seems easy, but as each moment is different, each day is different, and at times you may find it impossible to concentrate. But little by little you will become to understand the importance of what I am telling you. First, you must learn how to purify the subtle bodies by surrendering the concept of the physical body, so that you may come upon that invisible matrix from which the body is continuously being formed. If you learn how to purify yourself, you will be able to see more clearly, for the thought forms and projections that obstruct clear sight and inner hearing begin to dissolve. After all, thought is the only thing that divides us. He instructed me to move my chair as close to his as I could. Then he took my hands in his, with my right palm up and my left palm down, forming a circuit through which I could feel a spiral of energy moving between us. The effect was immediately calming. First, make sure that your back is straight, and then simply watch the rise and fall of the breath. To be able to do this takes much practice, and few people are prepared to make the necessary effort. When you can just watch the breath, you will begin to realize that they are tyrannized by thoughts that move us this way, and almost constantly. And although we do not like to face the truth, it becomes clear to us that we have little of permanence. But you are not your thoughts, any more than you are your emotions or your body. If you are not your thoughts, and yet you find it so difficult to just watch the breath and not be moved by these thoughts, then is there not something wrong? He put more pressure on my hands as he asked this question until I looked up into his eyes. Listen carefully, he said, and remember this. Until you have a permanent eye, you will always be in danger of being led astray. When you learn to breathe in awareness, then there is a chance to come upon this inner being that is your real self. Today I'm going to introduce you to 3 aspects of breath. The science of breathing is the study of a lifetime, but these 3 aspects, if considered carefully and put into practice, can help change the course of your life. They are the rhythm of the breath, the quality of the breath, and the positioning of the breath. Much has been written recently in the West about the rhythm of breath called pranayama in India, but people do not realize that the different kinds of rhythms taught by different schools and teachers are meant to produce different results. If you want to drive a car very fast up a hill, the engine takes on quite a different rhythm than when it is coasting gently down the hill. The speed of the car may be the same, but the rhythm of the engine is quite different. It is the same with the science of breath. The understanding of rhythm is vital. He paused, and I was not quite sure whether or not he wanted me to respond. Before I had time to reply, he went on. The rhythm I am going to teach you today is sometimes called the mother's breath. People do not realize that something is being born out of every moment. That if we could find a rhythm that is most natural and most in harmony with the universal laws governing our existence, we would be contributing to the work of bringing about peace on this planet. So this is the first lesson, to consciously practice a very basic rhythm of breath. Make sure your spine is straight so that the vital fluids can pass easily up and down. Now inhale to a count of 7. Pause for 1 and breathe out for a count of 7. Before breathing in to start the second cycle, pause once more on the out breath for a count of 1. This is a very simple rhythm count of 7, 1, 7, 1, 7. If you work hard, the timing will soon become automatic. Now practice this rhythm with me. As I relaxed and surrendered to the rhythm, I began to feel very light. Hamid was still holding my hands, and I could see the rise and fall of his abdomen as he breathed. Although the rhythm was strange and rather difficult to follow in the beginning, something in me started slowly to awake. An observer who was able to watch all that was going on and yet was not identified with the rhythm itself. Good, said Hamid. Now trust a little more, relax and close your eyes and just allow yourself to be breathed. Let go of all concepts. Surrender to the rhythm that flows and pulsates throughout all life. This rhythm is called the law of 7, and by following it you establish yourself as part of the harmonious principle of life, which wishes only to conceive perfection from within itself. Now, as we come to the next stage, which is concerned with the quality of the air you breathe, you are to continue with a 7-1-7 pattern. Just as the wind carries on its wings whatever is light enough to be lifted from the earth, there are many qualities that can be carried on the breath if we understand rhythm and if we are able to concentrate correctly. For example, you could choose one color out of the whole spectrum and breathe it into your body, infusing each cell. This practice is used in certain types of healing. You can breathe in a strong vibration similar to the low notes of the piano, or you can choose to breathe in the finest vibration imaginable, which in this world would be beyond the range of sound. You can choose anything. You could breathe in the elements of fire, earth, air, or water. You could breathe in the essence of a particular flower or herb in the same way that you breathe in the perfumes of flowers and know the difference between them. The science of breath is a vast subject, known only to a few in the past, but now it is time for the world to begin to understand. With the correct rhythm and with the knowledge of what I am telling you, extraordinary things can be done. But these are only hints along the way. When you have practiced sufficiently the basic rhythm, we will be able to talk in greater detail. The third aspect I wish to touch on today is the placing of breath. Just as the wind carries the seed from one place to another, so the breath can carry intention from one area of the body to another for special purposes. Through correct placing of the breath, we can learn to bring the body into balance. We can begin to learn the art of transmutation, the art of the alchemists. We can begin to fulfill our responsibility in being conscious human beings, devoted to a life of service on earth. Now, breathe with me, feel the rhythm I have taught you, and be infused with the finest quality of air that you can imagine. Be purified with this air. Let it wash away all your pain in this moment. As I breathe with you, feel the energy spread down from the top of your head and pass right down through your body. As I relaxed and allowed my body to breathe as Hamid directed, I felt an ease, a new sense of freedom that I had not experienced before. At the same time, I had to struggle not to lose concentration and awareness. Hamid held my hands tighter. Now I want you to take several deep breaths. Each time you breathe in consciously, attune yourself to be in balance, and at the same time, take responsibility for your body. You have managed to let go of a lot of what you thought you were in order to discover something real within you. This is what we call the observer. You must learn to develop this observer a little more each day. You are here to learn to be in charge of the vehicle that you have been given. Stand proud in this world and bow in the next. I breathed slowly and deeply, and soon Hamid instructed me to open my eyes. The room looked quite different, as though I were seeing it for the first time. I felt a tremendous sense of peace and security. All was in its proper order. I sensed the perfect flow between the objects in the room and through each object itself. There was a sense of communion, of acknowledgement. The chairs, the table, the bed, all knew of each other. They were not inanimate objects anymore, but part of living being. Everything had awareness, spoke a silent language. Everything was, in essence, perfect. Hamid took his hands away from mine and stood up, quietly. He walked around behind me, held his hand above my head, and slowly brought them down on either side of my body, 2 or 3 inches away from my clothes. Then he stood beside me and made the same actions in front and behind. Finally, standing behind me once more, he put his hands on my shoulders and told me to be quite still. A tremendous heat poured through his hands, so that my whole body tingled. He stood there only a few seconds, and then sat down once more. "Good," he said. "Now we begin to talk about the real world. It will be easier for you to understand. But first, we must have coffee and breakfast. Can you make Turkish coffee yet?" "You can't?" He shook his head sadly. "Well, you must learn, and then each morning it will be your job to fix it after the meditation we will do together. When we've had coffee and breakfast, we will sit and talk. Now you should go down to the beach for the walk, and when you come back, I will have prepared the coffee for you." With that, he left the room. My body felt strangely weak, and it was hard at first for me to move from the chair. I rested a few moments longer, and then I set off down the path to the sea to watch the fishing boats returning with the morning's catch. As I walked along the beach, I thought of the change in Hamid. This morning had not been like the times we had spent together in London. I felt a sense of authority in him, a no-nonsense attitude that left no room for compromise. Before, there had always been time to talk about mundane affairs, to laugh a little and to share in a dinner table discussion, but now there seems to be a sense of urgency. I felt that I was expected to extend myself beyond anything I had ever attempted. Certainly I had taken this leap into the unknown, but now I realized there was no turning back. I had put myself into this man's hands. The play had begun, and I didn't even know the outline of the plot. When I returned from the beach, Hamid had set the table for our breakfast on the patio. The meal was held in silence, and after we had cleared away the breakfast things, Hamid gestured me to precede him into the house. When we were again settled in our respective chairs, he began to speak as though we had never left. During the time you are here, we will have a period of study every morning. This will be new for you, as Westerners seem to think that study is a way of assimilating information or of gaining knowledge. But you cannot gain knowledge. Remember that. Knowledge cannot be acquired. It must be given. It is given to you at the right moment, but really it is all there within you. Education comes from the Latin word educare, which means to bring forth. It does not mean to stuff down some extraneous bits of information from some outside source. The study I mean is the study of essential truths in love and in awareness, so that what is within you, waiting to be born, may begin to unfold. If you study hard, understanding will grow out of itself. But before you study in this way, you must always prepare yourself. That is why we do the practices first. You have to learn to balance the three worlds: the world of thinking, the world of feeling, and the physical world. Study is not a head trip. If you study just with the head, then you will end up with concepts of the truth. If you study just with the world of feeling, then you could walk around in a state of perpetual hallelujah, feeling everything but with no direction. If you just do physical exercises to train the body, then you may get so earthbound that you will never aspire high enough. It is a question of balance. I interrupted him to ask, what do you mean when you say that knowledge is given and not acquired? Be careful, that is a mind question. It is not a true question. If you were listening to me properly, you would not even think of asking such a thing. You still think that you are capable of doing something? You have really learned nothing then. I have told you to listen, to let what I am saying sink in, not to start trying to explain with a discursive mind. You will study by listening. If you do not wish to listen, then go away and come back again when you are ready. I have plenty to do and I do not care to waste my time. Waste is the only sin, and everything follows from that. Sin is the lack of knowledge, so if you want to understand, you must listen. I'm putting on a break here. Today is the 6th of June.